This is a quick Forex blog for May 29th, 2015, and there won't be any release of a new version this week because we put in a bunch of new caching stuff which has some bugs, and until today was causing me some crashes, maybe 1 out of 10 loads. I load the workspaces probably 20-30 times a day, back testing and putting in new patterns, fixing old ones, reloading, seeing if the fixes went into place, and so on. So one of the improvements we put in is for our value area volume profile. It doesn't make any sense to look at millions of trades and calculate these value areas on daily, weekly, 4-hour, hourly, 30 minutes, and other time frames, and have to redo all that calculations every single time. So we put in caching of past value areas to rapidly speed up loading those workspaces. On previous days, all that is already calculated and just gets put where it needs to be in the program. Unfortunately, that had some bugs, especially on the weekend. It had some issues. I want to test it this week and also next weekend to make sure all those bugs are free. And we're pretty sure we got all the crash bugs with the new improvements. They're insanely complex, so only time will tell. So there's no point of releasing a version that might have issues. I'm pretty confident it doesn't, but I also felt that way on Friday, and today had numerous bugs that we fixed. This is Sunday. So anyway, here's how some of the signals did this week. I'm just going to showcase some of the charts. Here's the euro dollar. I spent most of this week putting in fixes to some of the pattern-based trades I did in the last month. I back-tested these pattern-based trades that may work well in the past, and unfortunately, in the future, they weren't 60-70% accurate like they were in the past. They were maybe 45 to 50%, and they frequently had way too many losers, and the losers were bigger or equal to the average size of the wins, which they did not backtest. So I added a bunch of rules to those that should find 55-60% winners. That's my goal, and wins that are bigger than losses. That's for a pattern to pretty much stay in the software. It has to consistently find good trades, and they have to be bigger wins than losses. So anyway, you'll see fewer and fewer trades this week because I did spend the majority of my time putting in fixes so that some days there were 4 or 5 losing trades in a row, and they were all from the same pattern. I had to fix it. That was a colossal mistake, and I won't make that mistake again. So I'm just going to showcase some of the trades. Here's the pound. I'll zoom in on Friday. You can see it's in a downtrend. Nice little double top after making a new low for the day. Unfortunately, that only made 10 pips. Made a new low. Sold the 50% retracement, it looks like. And that was good for 10, 20, 30, 40 pips. One of the timing tools I use in here is our trend reversal tool. And it works on all time frames. I use it on the range charts. I use it on 5, 15, 30, 60, 240 minutes as well. I'll make them white so you can see them. Now, when you have other of our tools confirming them, they tend to be very profitable. In other words, here's a new low, and you can see it nailed the low here. It's 2 bars early on the counter trend here, nailed the high here, nailed the low here. I mostly use them for trend trades. So here we have a clear trend. This is the only sell signal you have on the chart, and it happened to hit the fib area and bounce off of it, and it was a good amount of time from the low. I usually like to sell 15 minutes to an hour and a half from the low, give it a time to go up and have all the sellers be done, get on board, and then rock and roll with a huge trade, which frequently happens. You can see it again here, nice sell. Now here's a counter trend trade. Obviously didn't work because the trend's down, so I tend to use those only to confirm trend trades. But if you're manually trading, if you see a previous low with a trend reversal signal and you get a nice double bottom, it's a pretty high probability place to get in. If I had time today, I probably would add a counter trend buy signal here if the market wasn't statistically too weak, and you can see that's also good for about 30 pips. Also, knowing that the market has hit many counter trend trades, you can draw fibs on the wave up and tend to get into trend trades at the second wave up. here the market was down too much. It needs to go up at least 2 waves. Very high probability place to sell and good for 20, 30 pips. Yeah, I have over 2,000 patterns that are in here that look for these type of trades, but this one didn't quite meet it. I tend to prefer trades that just touch these fib target areas and then bounce off, and this one didn't quite do that, so that's probably the reason it didn't show up as a pattern. Here's the dollar CAD, which I think got a really nice big win, and behind the scenes are, like I said, over 2,000 patterns and a ton of our best tools, including value areas. I look at the hourly, 4-hour, daily, and weekly, and I believe this trade here had to do with the value areas. This yellow line is where the market spent the majority of its time during the previous 4 hours. So here's the previous 4 hours, and you can see it spent most of its time at that area. It spent 68% of its time between the green top line and red bottom line. So the market had made a new high for the day, came back and found support at the point of control, and very likely the 78% February too, which we have marked in this dotted line right here. You can see it found support. Very high probability trade and just an astronomically big win. I think that one generated 67.6 pips. These are the stats I keep each day, and this is after me adding new patterns and also fixing some of the old ones. I think there was maybe 20 trades this day, and I fixed 6 of them. They didn't meet the notes in the picture I took of the past. And again, a lot of trades. In fact, here's before I fixed it for the day. There's maybe 21 trades. Here, this pattern 25 trade had 2 losers. Fixed both of those. And I think I fixed this NR break 91. I keep track of each trade pattern, and this one had too many losers. It lost probably 65% of the time, so I put a lot more rules in there. Depending on how good a pattern performs over time, depends on how much additional rules I put in it, and sometimes I remove them altogether, but I've only done that twice. Out of 2,000 patterns, I've only removed 2 that I felt I couldn't fix. I put in fix after fix after fix, and it kept showing up as losers, so I just killed it. Don't want to waste time on that one. There's many ways to find good trades. So anyway, on Friday, 237 pips, 71% winning. Huge wins, 25 pips average win, 5 pip average loss. Typically, average loss is 7 to 9 pips. On the Thursday, 293 pips, 76% winning. And again, huge wins, tiny average loss. I fixed a ton of trades that day. This day, 189 pips, 56%. 224 pips, 69 or 61%. Again, it's very tiny losses and big wins. Typically, most days in the past, the average loss is somewhere around 6 to 8 pips. The average win somewhere between 17 and 24. Rarely is it more than 24. Rarely, like this day, is it less than 15. So this is a rare day, but it's also extremely high winning day. I tend to, when I first look at the trades that hit, fix the ones that have bigger than 10 pip losses, and then I start working my way down, and I'll see if a trade that only lost 3.7 pips, that's nothing. I'll see if it performed well in the past. If it doesn't, then I'll look at it and add more rules. In the past, you probably noticed that we had many days with 400 or 500 pips days, so like 497, 522, 475, 150, 466, 289, 508, 314. The reason for the last few weeks having much lower net pips is, a lot of the currencies didn't move as much, and also I had to fix all these pattern-based trades that had very few rules. They're mostly patterns that I backtested that worked well that unfortunately didn't work well in the future, so they had to be fixed. And when I spent all my time fixing them, I put in a lot fewer new patterns, and so therefore this is more of, most of these trades are older trades that created 6 months to 2 years ago. So and then again, I fixed quite a few of the losers that don't show up on this result. And after I'm done looking at all the trades, if they look like the past trades, I leave them be, and over time, if this one pops up again, I took a picture of it today, I can compare it in the future to what it looked like today, and I will hope to find all the losing trades have certain things in common that I can put in additional rules to get rid of those characteristics and get rid of this particular pattern having a loss. 7.6 pips I don't like. Anything over 7 to 8 pips I tend to focus on. 2-3 pips a lot of times I don't even look at. But if a pattern later on shows up with a big loss and it has a ton of these 2 and 3 pip losses and very few big wins, I will put in more rules to fix it in the future. So it's kind of like a rolling target. I'm working every day to continue to put in improvements. Here's the last one. I don't think I showed the dollar Swiss. This is the kind of thing where you lose 4 to 5 pips. So shorted here at 14, got out here at 20, lost 6 pips. No big deal, especially when the next trade gets in here at 14 and gets out at the close of this bar at 61 for 50 pip win. Wonderful trade. So that's it for today. Again, we're going to do everything we can to fix as many patterns and add new ones this week. I also am going to be working on fixing any bugs that we find from some of the new things that we put in. And also, I've discovered in Excel a great way of testing new trades and using their filter tablet. And I print out a lot of information I look at, and if I see a trade that works well, like for instance this one, if I highlight them right here, you can see on the bottom is found 237 pips. Sometimes the test, which allows me to filter in different ways and look at certain trade categories, or I can go over and say only show me ones that have a certain VWAP score. I measure a lot of statistics. What percentage of currencies are above VWAP? What percentage of them are above their 30-minute, 16 hourly point of control, and even the upper and lower value areas? And of course I measure simple stuff like 15-minute hourly moving average. Was it above it or below it? Was the 15-minute moving average above the 60? Was the 60 above the 40? I mean the 240? Was it above the previous week's high, or was it underneath the previous week's low if it was a short? What are the different slopes of the linear regressions on different bar patterns? I measure this and a lot more. These are just some of the more common filter methods. If I see a trade that works, but it's only 50-50, but I see that if it has this, this, and this in common, in addition to the simple rules, it's 80% winning with 20, 30 pip average wins, and the losses are 4 and 5 pips, then I will add it as a new pattern. So I've just started focusing more on backtesting simple ideas, and then I take those simple ideas. I mean, most of them, most people wouldn't call simple, but to me they're simple. Most of our patterns have 30 to 50 rules. So if I test something that only has 5 to 10 different rules, to me that's a simple trade. To most people that would be a very sophisticated, advanced trade. But I find that only having 5 or 10 rules, a trade pattern doesn't tend to work in the future. So anyway, that's it for today's Forex blog. We're still busy working, fixing bugs, and we're hoping if all the bugs are out of them, which it appears that they are. I have to test a few of them that tonight's live trading and see how the Sunday night flips to Monday, and if that works, then we'll probably release a new one next weekend with probably close to 300 improvements since the last release of 2.5 weeks ago.